I said I wouldn't expect to see Thresh, but actually it's fairly, like, Missing is known as a Thresh player. He's only played it 3 times this split, but wouldn't be that surprising. Immediately he locks it in. Even without the Aphelios, he's happy to just go for that Thresh. So that's how that one's going to go down. Udyr for Beishang as well. Hecarim being banned off the table. There's still things like Olaf available for SofM if he wants to go for that. It's kind of a very big comfort pick for SofM, so I wouldn't be surprised. But also the Azir. We talked about it earlier. This is the Angel pick.
Exactly. Got his pentakill earlier this split on the champion, has excelled for so long. With it not really having that many bad matchups, it's not a surprise to see it picked this early. I just want to see what else they're going to try to grab. It looks like, oh man, I was hoping it was going to be that Gragas that you had mentioned.
It still could be. They're just hovering around. And the key thing is that we expect this to be a support pick, right? The Gragas is a fantastic pick here because it's likely that support for On, based on what we've seen Suning doing, but it could still be a flex pick, right? It could still go up top towards Bin, so we'll have to see where that one goes eventually. But over to the side of WE, this Jinx that's been sneaking into the meta just a little bit could be the lock-in. And just to point out quickly, the last 2 wins that WE got were against OMG and were both with this Jinx paired alongside a Thresh.
Well, and that's the thing. You talked about that Aphelios being banned. I was like, you know, they could go Thresh, Jinx, thinking that in my mind, since that is usually the fallback. And WE, like you mentioned, are confident on the pick. They're so happy, even if it might be a bit weaker on that bottom side, it doesn't really matter, since you're going to be able to keep it going, keep it scaling, and be able to win out in that mid to late game.
So now over to the bans is the Olaf taken. And here's the problem, right? Here's the problem with picking the Gragas, is now the jungle pool can be pinched very heavily. We already talked about the Olaf, we already talked about the Hecarim and the Udyr being removed from the pool, one being picked, one being banned. Now Olaf can be taken away. You can go for something like a Lilia ban here as well and make it really, really difficult for SofM to have one of these premier jungle picks. I'm taking a look at his champion pool here, and you start to really stretch the definitions a little bit, because Nidalee, a couple of times he's played it, you could believe that he'll go for something like Nidalee. Actually, Nocturne, by the way?
That's a bit odd. I'm a bit surprised by that one.
Angel played it once, but Azir's already locked in.
Right.
And I wouldn't have expected SofM to play Nocturne jungle, unless they know something from scrims that we don't know.
Unless maybe it was Ben. Ben was thinking of playing that top side. I think we've seen it once so far in the top lane, if I recall. It would be a really weird pick. I mean, you want something spicy top lane, that would have been a great pick. But right now, I'm feeling that it is going to probably be that mid lane answer from WE, holding on to the top lane pick for Breathe, so that they can hopefully get that exciting match up top.
Yeah, we'll have to see. It's going to be the Viktor locked in for Shanks. This is kind of his bread and butter. It's not something Shanks has played a lot in terms of Viktor specifically, but this style of control mage, just chill in the mid lane, just clear waves and handshake against Azir is perfectly what Shanks wants to do. We talked about the top lane. It's going to be Bin locking into Camille. Camille was the pick that I literally mentioned. We could see Breathes Jax. Jax is good into the Camille. It's a great matchup. It's a carry matchup. That would be exactly what I'd love to see.
And the other thing, we're seeing these hovers right now of supports. There is the chance that SofM plays Gragas jungle. He's done it a couple times already this split, and it seems like they are going to flex Gragas.
Oh my goodness, we get to see SofM playing Gragas jungle. That was the one flex I wasn't going to talk about, because I thought, nah, it's only Kaisa that's played it the one time. Has SofM played it? Oh, no. SofM has played it a couple of times as well, yeah.
Twice.
Kaisa played it one time, I think. So there's been a little bit of Gragas jungle. The Wukong coming in for the top side to answer this Camille from Breathe. We get some carry top laners. We get some spicy jungle picks. This is what I wanted out of this draft.
You know what's wild to me is that this Camille pick for Bin, that is the most banned champion towards Suning of all champions throughout this entire spring split, sitting at a 92.3% ban rate by teams against Bin.
I mean, it's obvious why when we get into game. We'll see why this is banned so much against Bin, because When this guy gets on Camille, he takes over. Bin is the kind of top laner that will dominate in the 1v1. He will find huge individual advantages. When you look at his statistics, his gold difference at 15, his CS difference at 15, he's in the top 3s of the league. So really, really impressive 1v1 player. And I'm not going to lie, Breathe is going to have his work cut out in this top side, because Breathe, obviously having that Wukong, at level 6, you have a lot of pressure to be able to really push your advantage. But in the 1v1 later on into the game, Bin is going to be able to have a lot of pressure in those side lanes.
As he will. Well, we're going to load up onto the Rift. Game number 1, Suning Team WE. You can see the keystones. Looks like there's going to be a bit of a forfeit from Bin topside just to be able to survive a little bit more, or maybe even get a full trade early. I'd love to see him try to make that pressure known topside. Having SofM on Gragas, constantly trying to help him out. But here we go, loading up onto the Rift for our first game between these two. Both of them vying for a top position, looking towards playoffs here in the near future.
Oh, look at that. That is so beautiful. The picture of this stadium across the sky. You love to see it. Suning versus WE. I'm like, I was torn. I really wanted to commentate this game, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know if I can watch this. My two loved ones scrapping with each other. We'll have to see how this one's gonna pan out, though. Importantly, like let's bring ourselves back to reality for a second. Okay. Both these teams fighting for top spots in the standings. If WE can get a win here, they'd be tying themselves up for second place. They go for a deep ward, back away. I wasn't sure if they were gonna commit to a level 1 play there. They're just going to try and get vision and make sure they know where SofM is starting.
Well, that is the one difficult thing. While we haven't seen Gragas jungle too much, this is still a pick that SofM is incredibly confident with. Plus, it is Gragas. Gragas has a lot of good damage that he's able to provide early on, and it's a difficult gank to try to invade early for Udyr. Normally, wanting to skirmish, be able to find those 2v2 or even 1v1 fights, Gragas is not the champion you really want to look for that for immediately.
Yeah, Gragas generally does like to have a couple of items, but the thing about Gragas is, even if you don't do a lot individually, just having your E, especially when you've got flash up, can be such a powerful ganking tool that you can kind of make it happen anyway. Similar story for Udyr. Both will have relatively good clears as well. But you can see, importantly, both starting on the bottom side of the map. They are pathing up towards that top lane because it is going to be volatile between Breathe and Bin. We talked about the top lane 2v2. It's exactly what I expect to see over that Scuttle Crab in a couple of minutes.
How crazy would it be if we continue to have this 1v1 trade where the junglers are able to show up? They're going for the full mile. Breathe had to flash away. Bin might want to continue, not going to actually get the connection on that tactical sweep. Breathe, he was looking to see if he could re-engage this one. Remember, having Conquer would make it so that in the long extended trades, he might eventually be able to win out.
Yeah, Bin getting the best of Breathe a little bit there. Breathe not realizing that that was a trade that Bin's happy to just extend indefinitely, but Beishang wants to punish him.
Beishang, this is what I was wondering. Not having SofM anywhere nearby to help out Bin. Hook shot. He's going back in, trying to see if he get first blood underneath Beishang. He flashes away,
Lord.
trying to get nearby SofM. Not going to be able to get there in time. It's a 1-for-1 trade, but Bin makes it out like a bandit.
Breathe just not respecting anywhere near enough. Bin goes in. Like, every time we see Bin getting 2v1, you can expect him to try and get a kill. Like, that's the kind of player Bin is. He's already got a Sheen. We're 3.5 minutes into the game, and he's stepping into lane with a Sheen. Bin is going to be a monster this game. And guess what? SofM now, he can look towards a double skull.
Exactly, he's going to be so far ahead. And if we take a look at this replay, honestly, Breathe needed a bail from the fight.
Yeah, Breathe going back in, not really the play here. You can see we can slow it down as much as you want. He got the E, he got the stun, he pressed Q, gets a kill. Beautifully done. But importantly now, SofM does get that double skull, which we already set up. Udyr, very, very fast jungler. We talk about it every single game. Generally speaking, Udyr will have the CS advantage early, so SofM managing to get 2 scuttles off the back of that play from Bin. Bin being able to go even there, in fact go ahead technically because he got the first blood, is such a huge play in terms of the momentum of the entire map.
And the thing I find so crazy is it was Beishang who was the one to first make the gank. Obviously, Udyr having incredibly fast clear speed, but it's still not the pick that you'd expect that to be. You'd expect it to be the Udyr trying to farm up, trying to be able to outpace SofM, getting the double crabs himself, but because that gank didn't go exactly what they needed to, SofM read the play beautifully. Said, oh, hey, you know what? I can keep power farming myself, I can get the double crabs, and I can continue to have a little bit of an edge over this Udyr, despite the fact that you'd think on paper it'd be the opposite.
You would have thought so, but I mean, Beishang made the right decision at the end of the day, and now he's making more decisions as he goes in towards SofM. This bot diff, though, in favor of Jiumeng.
Ooh, he got the Lantern to be able to pull that back. Play on, even putting down the grenades to cut off the retreat for this Rell, waiting it out. Gonna barely be able to escape, but now they've brought in 3 members to try to deal with Ben. Will he be able to get the hook shot away? Has backup with Angel and SofM on the other side. Ben is under the turret. He does die, but they're trying to see if they can keep the fight going underneath the turret. But SofM dies to the double kill of Breeze. Bot lane is a fight continuing as well.
Chaos.
With a kill coming in from Huanfeng. Taken down, missing, looking for Jiumeng, but he's gonna be excited. Gotta be careful. He could be a bit scary, so Huanfeng gonna be able to bail. No, he's continuing it. Wait, there's a TP in behind. What's going on?
Yeah, bit of a weird TP from Bin, I'm not gonna lie. He's literally just gonna have to run it top now, or I guess he can run mid because Angel's top. Yeah, I think he was expecting Jiumeng to try and push the advantage with that get excited passive. Did not happen. So Bin will just clear out this mid wave and then move up towards the top side. Let's try and recap everything that just happened there, because there was a lot of chaos going on. Huge fight in favor of WE towards the top side. Importantly, Breathe getting 2 of those kills. That nullifies the advantage that Bin had in the first place. Bin face checking into everybody. Really intelligent roam from Shanks. And this was the 2v2 down in the bottom side. Missing, going way too far forward. But Jiumeng on this Jinx, able to stack that Conqueror. Interestingly, going Conqueror, not for the lethal tempo there, but able to trade it 1-for-1 in the end. So 2v2 goes even, support for support there.
It's one of those things that we've seen a couple times with Conqueror Jinx, just depending on matchups. I'm not too confident on that one. I think it's based off, like, if you're afraid you're going to get burst rule. That's something we'll have to ask Lyric about one day. If you're like, hey, why do you take this in this matchup, so that he can kind of inform us a bit.
Yeah, I think the Conqueror just looking towards being strong in the teamfights later. The lethal tempo quite often, it feels a little... what's the word? A little win more for Jinx occasionally, where once you get a lot of attack speed in the late stages of the game, it's almost impossible to actually auto as fast as you're physically able to without just standing still and autoing in those fights. So quite often Conqueror can offer a lot more upfront damage. Chickens go the way of SofM in the end.
I don't think he got a single chicken there. I think SofM was able to get all of them with the barrel, then smite on the big one. So he just did all the work while SofM got all the credit.
Yeah, SofM getting the credit in the end. But jungle matchup going the way of Beishang just about, but it's purely off of these skirmishes we've seen at the start of this game. And let's just quickly hit on the win conditions for these compositions overall, because I feel like there's been so much action in the start of this game that we've not been able to really talk holistically what these two teams want. When you look at both mid laners, it's obvious that there is scaling on both sides of the board, but with the side lane pressure that Suning have with this Camille, it feels like maybe they can try and split this map up a little bit more and play towards picks. When you've got things like this Kaisa, things like the Gragas and a Rell as well, if somebody mispositions from WE, Suning can punish really hard. Beishang wants to move into the top side. He's not going to find an opportunity on Ben.
No, but Ben is playing with fire. You know that Beishang is there, and you also have to be careful because you can see on those wards that you can easily get punished. But Ben, realizing that Udyr is nearby, saying, all right, I can bail out of this one with a hook shot.
So just to, hang on, I don't have time to talk about this.
They're not letting us, like, ever get
a
chance to be able to, like, dissect the game, be like, all right, what's going to happen? Because, again, Ben, what is that, like the 4th, 5th gank that we've seen onto Ben topside. Bot lane continues for the 2v2 trade on taking a lot of damage. They just constantly are looking for this pressure. Both sides, this mid-game massacre, they are living up to the name as they go in for the all-in on Beishang with a great body slam. Even the explosive cast, barely alive, but red buff, tick, tick, no! Breathe will barely survive.
Sub 30 HP there for Breathe as he just about gets out with his life. And you know what? That passive absolutely saved him on that one. The stone skin giving him that little bit of extra armor. Down to the bottom side as well, this WE 2v2 with the Jinx, with the Thresh, Jiumeng and Missing stepping up here. This is the kind of game I wanted, though. Just action across the board. These two teams showing who is boss right here. When it comes to the mid game, we've got two different strategies. WE want to group up and go for that 5v5 fight. Suning want to spread out on the map. But in this early game, it's all just about the mechanical outplay.
And honestly, I love this play coming in from Ben, being able to eat so much pressure for WE so they can really throw it right back at them.
Yeah, Beishang did not need to go back in there, unfortunately. Nope. Steps a little too far forward, and SofM absolutely just demolishes them with that ulti. But it does mean that Beishang manages to get back out onto the map, gets himself a Drake, had so much priority in the mid and in the bottom lane, because Shanks hadn't recalled. You could see Angel had recalled, so he was just TPing back to the mid lane. Shanks was able to shut that in. Gives an opportunity for Beishang to grab that first Drake of the game for WE.
Munch, there's been so much fighting happening so far that I completely forgot that Dragon and Rift Herald existed. Normally by this point, you know, with an Udyr comp, there's already like one dragon taken, the next one's about to come up. You have the rotation from bot lane where you send support top side to try to see if they can test Rift Herald. Nah, none of that from these two teams. All they want to do is scrap.
Well, it looks like SofM would at very least like the idea of the Rift Herald. Trinket just went up there as he moves towards Breathe. We've got another fight on our hands here. Breathe has ulti, though.
Predator was popped, trying to see if they can wait it out. There's the Cyclone, looking for the body slam. It's going to be the double Cyclone, a lot of damage, but an explosive catch was able to knock back Breathe with a turret shot to help out. Gives over to the kill to Ben. Flash in from Shanks with the Chaos Storm. Ben barely surviving. Good body slam, trying to disengage, but Ben finally dies to the Chaos Storm. Beishang to be able to take out SofM underneath the turret too.
Beautifully done here by WE, punishing the over-aggression. I have to say that was clean from SofM to get a kill onto Breathe without Ben going down, but really, really great answer from WE. Angel doesn't get to do anything in the mid lane. We've got another 2v2 bot side.
And both, we have ults used, flash away from on, excited Jiumeng, looking to see if they can continue to chase, but they don't. Instead, waiting for Breathe to be able to rotate up. Another TP that's a bit questionable, but I think it works this time since Jinx is excited, a lot of plates are available, and she can get more gold.
Another top laner TPing down and not getting anything. Angel, in the meantime, has basically been AFK in this mid lane. We got another TP. We got more action. Dark Express to get out of here.
Hello, hello. Look who it is. Angel puts up the wall, making sure there's no escape, and they know who they want to focus. They want to be able to get that shut down immediately, gift it over to a Huanfeng. While Breathe, not going to take the lantern instead, just going to use the decoy to be able to disengage, and that is still more scrappiness here. We're only 12.5 minutes into this game.
I'm loving this. I am loving every single second of this. It feels like we have two teams that stylistically are so similar. It's all about this early skirmishing and then the team fighting later on. Right now, on the board, I would have expected the composition from Suning to be doing a little bit better in these early game skirmishes, but I have to say, Jiumeng's Jinx is actually doing a lot of work during these fights, more than I would have expected from him in the early game. But Beishang has been absolutely everywhere that he needed to be when it comes to the CS. He's managed to build himself a lead, but also in these fights, he's being able to be more impactful. SofM once again going with this battle song with his Gragas jungle, which I believe was the build we saw him go for last time he played it as well. Definitely a man of his own strategies here. He's the kind of guy that likes to mix things up a bit.
Pretty much lives by his own accord, saying, it's the whole idea that Kaisa had laid out before. If you win enough, you can develop the meta around your own self, and it seems like that's what he's trying to do here, but unfortunately, it's not having that same impact, even though Ben is continuing to look for these trades and to breathe 1v1, but not anymore, because SofM is here, easy, going to be able to get the Cyclone to disengage a little bit, but there's just so much damage on top of Breathe, and they jump back in for Breathe to die to Ben.
Look, when we made this segment saying, look, we're going to have a lot of top lane jungle 2v2s in this game, I didn't realize it was going to be like literally that's all we get to see this entire series. 4 plates taken by WE on the top side before the plates go down and the tower is finally taken. That's 2 towers now in favor of WE and the first Drake. Second Drake going to be spawning in about a minute's time. You'd expect WE to be happy to put their front foot forward here with a 3,000 gold lead. But it's Herald first as we have a fight.
Yeah, they seem to have thought they had on caught out, but look at SofM onto Shanks. Looking to see if they can take him down. With the flash coming in with the super mega death and doing a lot of damage to SofM, and Shanks going to be able to get the kill as they took down Angel as well. With the Rift Herald too. They get 2 kills and the objective. Team WE now are starting to win these scrappy fights.
Yeah, that one was too much from Suning. That one was, they were outnumbered. The Herald was already going down. They thought they had an opportunity onto Shanks, but he had reinforcements. And also, worst case scenario, you've got missing there on Thresh, who's able to just pull him out to safety. So nicely done by WE to find themselves a Herald. And this felt more like Suning misunderstanding the situation, trying to find a fight when realistically they couldn't. Dragon is just spawning though as the resets come out from WE. Maybe an opportunity for Suning to try and brute force that, but I'm not sure if it's possible as WE will get back out on the map. But when we take another look at this, the stun comes out onto On. You see SofM flashing for the opportunity onto Shanks, but the threat just isn't there. Angel can't really follow up onto the kill. Shanks is completely fine, and the rest of the squad just finishes the kills.
Yeah, now Suning find themselves about 5,000 gold down at 15 minutes into the game. Well, it seemed like Suning have had really good fights, really good picks. WE are the ones who are getting all the gold. 2 towers, actually 3 towers they have, and there's not a single one that has been secured by Suning.
And this is so weird because on one side I'm like, I'm sad that Suning are losing out in this game, but on the other side, I'm happy that WE are winning out so cleanly as well. These scraps are so intense, and it's so much down to each individual player's mechanical plays. And SofM, I will say, is popping off this game. Even if they're losing overall, his mechanics have been fantastic on this Gragas. It's really, really great to see. Score-wise, not so much. In terms of what he's been able to do on the map, not so much. But in terms of the mechanics, he's been looking clean.
I will also say one fun fact is, with them playing this Gragas so far, and you were right, it was the battle song that he's built every single time. He is someone who tries to constantly start these fights even when they're behind. Even if they don't have a lead, he's looking for these picks because that's usually what can get Suning back into any of these games they fall behind in.
The hilarious thing is that it's battle song as well as Predator. Like, that is one speedy Gragas. He is looking to sprint into these fights and get the CC down ASAP. The Drake's already been taken. I'm not entirely sure why Suning are playing towards that. Trying to get some vision in the river, at very least, to set Bin up to be able to pressure that bot lane tier 1. Important to mention that Suning have not got a single tower down just yet in the game. WE have 3 taken already, as well as those 2 Drakes. It's a really bad situation for Suning. Importantly, Jiumeng got so much gold when it came to those tower plates. He's got his Kraken Slayer already. He's got a Zeal on top of it. He'll be looking towards 2 items ASAP. And here's the thing about Jinx. Yes, she's a crit AD carry. She'll spike incredibly hard on 3 items, but she also spikes super hard on 2 items. You can go for the Hurricane if you're on a team fight. What we've seen a lot is exactly what we're seeing right here, the rapid fire cannon, because we're having so many more skirmishes right now as opposed to grouped up 5v5s. You don't get as much value out of the Hurricane. So this rapid fire cannon just gives you much more power in single target DPS, and just a tiny bit more attack speed and the ability to get those ranged autos.
But when it comes to these skirmishes, I'm a bit worried for Team WE. We've seen that Suning are not afraid to try to go for these scrappy fights, try to see if they can pick off members, and if they can have one that is successful, they can suddenly get these starts. And look at this TP in behind. This seems to be their call that they want to be able to get into the pit. They've already locked in Beishang, got a lot of damage on them as well. Angel going into the backline, going to be able to get the knock if they need to on Jiumeng. They've taken him down for the double kill for Huanfeng, continuing to see if he can chase down, but that Cyclone was able to get the flash out of him. Golden Shanks, Cyclone from Breathe, takes down On as well. 2 traded back for WE with the flashes, continuing to chase this down. Ben realizes a target that he needs to be able to take and wants to get a little bit more with Breathe being the last surviving member. He's struck down for the triple kill from Ben.
And just like that, Suning are back in the game. What a team fight. What a trigger pull from Suning. They see the overextension from Beishang and immediately make the play to punish. The TP in behind everyone from Angel to make sure nobody can escape from WE. It is a messy fight. It was by no means clean, but Huanfeng able to do a ton before he goes down. Angel positioning beautifully, and Bim there to clean everything up, punishing WE for stepping too far forward. You can see here, Beishang went into the jungle, can't take the Dark Passage because of the beautiful Hextech ultimate. Then Angel's like, nah, you don't get to come out of the jungle this way. Blocks him with the ulti, and Huanfeng flies in. And this is the point where Breathe arrives, is able to just pretty much 100-0 Huanfeng, so not a lot Huanfeng can do about that one. But that's everything. AD carry's already gone. Your mid lane is already gone. There's nothing left in the tank for WE at this point, so it's all down to Angel and Bin just chasing these kills down and finding the clean ace for that team.
And I was starting to wonder if this was the time. Huanfeng has played Kaisa 10 times the split and has not lost. He has won every single game on Kaisa this split, which is incredible because everyone's playing Kaisa, but at least there are some losses on a champion, but he is showing why they prioritize this, but they gotta be careful. Wait, no, they don't. They still beat the fight. They lose SofM, but they gotta be careful because Ben's now locked in the pit. Double kill coming in from Shanks, so they at least get a 2-for-1 trade, finding Suning a bit too far out too.
Yeah, Suning are still behind in this game. They need to not get too crazy on this sub, but able to trade at least evenly here. Beishang is up. Dragon's coming up.
Whoa.
And Angel wants to change
into the pit they go. Shanks is locked up, and they give another kill over to Huanfeng. Angel goes golden. They got to be careful, though. Jiumeng is here to get a lot of damage back onto Angel. Huanfeng, are you going to be able to flash over the wall? No, can't get out of the pit. It's locked in. A bit too aggressive from Suning.
Look, Jiumeng survived it all. He's playing Jinx. He's able to just fire away for free in the backside the entire time. So I like the attempt from Angel. I like it in theory, but the follow-up really wasn't there. And without a jungler, they can't do anything. Now WE are like, you know what? We've got a jungler. You don't have a team. We're just going to run straight at this Baron. We got a Jinx that's on 2 items with a Kraken Slayer. Missing is here to zone SofM away. WE going to start this one off. Bin and SofM, the 2 men on the top side of the map, trying to stop this happening.
2v4, 2 against the world. They gotta be careful. It is the re-engage onto SofM. On's a bit too late to be able to help out. He goes golden to be able to survive. Bin over the wall, ditching the jungler, saying, I'm sorry, man, I gotta get out of here. The Baron has been stopped, but they found Bin as well, dragging him back in with all 5 members here. Tries to escape, barely still alive. How did Bin do it?
He gets away
out of there, and now WE, they've used a lot to try to get this pick, but they got to pick onto Angel, getting him a lot of damage. Emperor survived, doesn't take the kill onto anybody, and now On locked in the pit. Double kill for Shanks. Bin back in the fight, finding 1 kill, but still Bin survives, trying to get away from this entire fight. Hookshot will be able to barely get out of dodge, but unfortunately, the jungler's down and Baron is up.
Even though Breathe was the only one to go down for WE, he played that fight so well. He just runs straight at Huanfeng. He knows that his single purpose in this game is to stop Huanfeng from playing. He can deny everything. This will be the Baron for WE. Beautiful team fighting from them. Denying Huanfeng getting in. You saw the Void Seeker land. Angel goes in. He's expecting the Kaisa to fly into the backline with him, but Breathe denies it all.
I thought for a second there, I was looking at Ben, he TP'd me, and I'm like, wait a minute, are they gonna keep trying to fight this? Munch, this game has been nuts so far. They are, both teams, fighting so scrappily. When we look at this play, Ben and SofM, I thought they made the hero play to be able to disengage the spare.
Yeah, and it looked good, right? They stopped the Baron right here, they reset it, but it's this moment where it's like, okay, it's bad for Suning. They're losing players. Bin's not going to be able to escape from this one. Then as Bin disengages, you'll see Angel slide in. Watch what Breathe does, because Huanfeng is there. He's got marks. Angel's about to go in. You expect Huanfeng to be able to go in on this one with him, but Breathe just sprints it straight at Huanfeng. Angel gets the knockups. Huanfeng is off the screen right now. He can't follow up in any way. Both On and Angel went in to set up Huanfeng there, and Breathe denied entry completely. It's beautiful to see.
And this is what a Wukong can do. It's a great pick to be able to have these big team fight ults to be able to hit so many targets, or to be able to completely zone off carries like Huanfeng. He's sitting 7-3 on this Kaisa with the Lord Dominic's regard as well. He is in a great position to be able to carry these team fights, so why not make sure he can never join the team fights?
And you know, SofM is he's about ready to start a library with his double fiendish codex in his inventory. Just desperate for a bit of CDR, I guess, as they're going to be able to fight themselves to tier 2 at the top side of the map. WE now in a position where they can really start to speed this game up. And when you look at these two compositions, hang on, we got another fight. Never mind the
of course they're gonna fight. Of course they're gonna scrap. Of course we're gonna see a kill on the other side with On taken down by the Chaos Storm. Finn trying to escape this time. Has to go golden to try to manage it at all. But you can see even with the slice that they don't get the kill they needed to from Bin. WE, perfect position to continue to oppress the base of Suning.
Yeah, and I mean, this is why I like these two teams as well, because when the game's over, they just try force the play. They accept that they are miles behind, that the enemy's on soul point and has Baron. They're like, all right, let's look for the pick. Let's look for the play.
Might as well.
WE punished them very handedly, but I like the intent from Suning at very least. Now the reset can come in from WE. They can go over towards the Drake. I have no idea if we'll ever get a replay of the previous fight, because I think that at this point it's just going to be action for the rest of the game. You can see Huanfeng trying to move over towards the Dragon area. SofM is back up as well. Bin will be respawning, but he won't have TP. But it looks like WE not actually running straight towards the Drake here. They've only got 20 seconds till that's up.
We have time for a replay. It's actually happening.
Yeah, so SofM tries to go in from the top side with Beishang. Just playing Bouncer here. It's a great explosive cast. Here's the thing, like, again, SofM mechanically has been looking good, but with this build, he's very, very squishy. The team has fallen behind, and it's just pick after pick after pick here. Realistically, at no point was that a real 5v5, right? It was WE grouped up as a unit, and Suning kind of filtering in one by one. Drake is up on the map. This would be Ocean Soul for WE. If Suning can't deny this, it might just be over. And SofM.
Oh my god, SofM got blown up, and it's a double kill for Jiumeng. And of course they're going to be able to get themselves a soul with that.
Yeah, that's... I'm afraid that's game. Here we go. On into the pit.
And look at this. They have Bin left out to try, but he's able to still somehow get the kill over the wall, dying it regardless. The TP into the base. Shanks wants to end this, saying, all right, enough's enough. We have the minions already. Why don't we take game one?
You know what? This was everything that I needed in my life. This game was absolutely bananas. WE had more than a kill a minute here, and then Suning had 15 on top of that. Absolutely mental gameplay. WE come out on top. We said that these guys were scrappy mid-game teams, and boy did they prove that right as WE get game one.
So I knew that that was going to be the case. I knew there was going to be a lot of scrappy 2v2 skirmishes. I didn't expect to have no chance to ever really talk about anything, because they just constantly threw their bodies at one another, trying to be able to get those leads every single time they saw their enemy.
Yeah, that was bananas. That was absolutely mental. Fantastic game coming out from WE. And, you know, when Bin got those kills early on in the game, it started to look like, okay, Bin is just going to take over. But there was that one skirmish that happened, I think it was like the 5 or 6 minute mark, where the 2 kills went the way of the Wukong. Breathe managed to find himself back into the game. And from that point on, he had the damage to be able to just 1v1 Huanfeng. And it felt like that singular interaction of Breathe being able to stop Huanfeng playing the fights how he wanted to was enough for WE to then snowball the game out of control. And we had some great Azir ults coming out from Angel. We had some great casts coming out from SofM, but not enough to turn any of these fights. And let's be honest, there was no way onto the back line. I think Jiumeng got shut down like once the entire game by Bin. The goal of this Camille in a team fight is to get onto Jiumeng, right? Be able to shut down that AD carry and stop him popping off. And that happened once in the very last fight of the entire game. Most of this game, Jiumeng was just free fire out of the backline. That's one of the advantages that this rapid fire cannon offers as well.
Seriously, and the fact that they couldn't burst down Jiumeng in these I guess late game team fights. It's weird to describe this entire game because you can't even. It seemed like they were late game team fights, but we were like what 15 minutes into the game, and they're all constantly having these 5v5 front to back fights that normally you're like, oh, that's like a 30-40 minute kind of style. But both teams are like, oh no, we got enough items, right? One item's enough for a straight 5v5 fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these teams like to push their advantages. But I think a key thing about that is that both teams realized that they couldn't allow the others to just snowball away with things. And if you don't fight them, they're going to take the objective. So you then have to fight by default. And many TPs were used and abused across the course of this game, especially the TPs towards the bot lane from our top laners, both of which just failed miserably. But it was W that managed to come out on top. And as you'd expect, Jiumeng topping the damage chart on the Jinx.
Yep, expected result there. I mean, which is funny because it's not like there was very many tanks on the side of Suning. Normally, you're like, oh yeah, when you have a Jinx, you're hitting some sort of meatball front line that you're really getting to stack up those damage numbers, right? Well, here, it's just the fact that Jiumeng was playing these fights so well to be able to hit so many members from that distance.
Yeah, exactly, and it was very difficult for Suning to get onto Jiumeng. Here's the thing, like, I talked about the Camille being able to get on the back line. You've got a Gragas, you've got an Azir as well, and Huanfeng on this Kaisa. If Jiumeng mispositions, there were a lot of tools there for Suning to stop him in the team fights. But it felt like there was so much chaos going on at the front of the team fight, no one could ever focus on Jiumeng. It felt like Suning were never in a fight where they could like set up these gap closers, set up these ways of getting Jiumeng into the middle of the skirmish. Because it was so scrappy and because it was so reactionary from Suning, they were never able to set that up. And so Jiumeng was able to.
I want to say before we go to like a break, they're missing. It almost felt like he was just getting overshadowed because everyone else was doing so much, but he was honestly pivotal for that team, constantly being able to find picks when necessary, but peeling properly for Jiumeng so that you didn't have to ever worry about Jinx getting jumped on by SofM, by Angel, by Ben.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is why you pick the Thresh, right, as well.
Right.
Missing's Thresh is well known in the LPL to be one of the better ones. He's incredibly competent on that pick. And importantly, the dark passages across the game, being able to pull his AD carry to safety many times, and other teammates as well. Really beautiful stuff to see from Missing.
And normally I'd be like, what can we see change from the draft? But I don't really feel like it's anything like that. It's just all about them constantly fighting. So for now, we're going to toss it to a break. When we come back, we'll probably see a lot more of that fighting with a kill a minute in the game too. So stick around. It's going to be fun.